Oscar Piastri has arrived in Qatar carrying one of the strongest and most uncompromising messages McLaren have heard at any point this season. And just to make things even sharper, Mark Webber has backed him publicly, making their stance impossible for the team to ignore during one of the most influential weekends of the entire championship. Both driver and manager have now made their position unmistakably clear. Piastri will not follow team orders, will not sacrifice his race for Lando Norris, and will not play the role of a supporting act while he is mathematically still in the title fight. There was no argument, no heated disagreement, and no emotional outburst behind the scenes. What Piastri delivered was calm but absolute, a direct refusal that leaves McLaren in a situation they hoped wouldn't come until much later, if at all. And the moment Webber echoed that stance, it transformed from a private decision into a public declaration. He has made it known that he expects McLaren to respect Piastri's right to race for the championship and has warned that the inconsistencies, the pressure swings, and the questionable decisions across the year will be discussed in detail over the winter break. The timing could not be more dramatic. Norris leads the standings. Piastri remains just inside the mathematical fight, and Max Verstappen is sitting right behind them, waiting for any slip. The idea of team orders is no longer theoretical. It's a real, developing threat inside the garage, a cloud growing darker with every hour as the paddock shifts into full Qatar mode. Piastri refuses to give way. Webber is already preparing for the political conversations still to come, and McLaren now must manage a title fight, a frustrated young talent, and an experienced manager who believes too many issues have piled up over Piastri's season. With Qatar approaching, every word, every strategic call, every radio message becomes a moment that could shift the dynamic completely. This is no longer a battle just about points. It's about authority, fairness, and the future direction of the team itself. Oscar Piastri enters Qatar knowing exactly where he stands, and exactly where he refuses to stand. He has been crystal clear that he is not anyone's number two. He is not a supporting act, and he will not voluntarily step aside to help Norris seal the championship. His tone has been cool, steady, and logical, but beneath that calm delivery is an unmistakable firmness. He acknowledges the reality of the championship table. He acknowledges Verstappen's late-season surge. He acknowledges that his own chances rely partly on circumstances outside his control. But none of those facts, in his mind, justify accepting a lesser status. For Piastri, the mathematics still give him a door, maybe a narrow one, but one that remains open. As long as there is a possibility, he believes he has every right to fight for the world championship himself. He revealed that McLaren had briefly approached him about the idea of supporting Norris, and his reply was short and definitive: no. His refusal revealed something deeper than simple ambition. It revealed a driver who believes championships are won through racing, not through internal negotiations or pre-race deals. His stance wasn't aggressive. It was factual. He is level on points with Verstappen heading into a sprint weekend. He is still in the same theoretical position as the reigning champion. He has won races, led the standings, and played his part in pushing McLaren forward. From his perspective, there is no justification to step aside. Not now, not before the numbers decide it for him. But the statistics also point to a concerning trend. Since the summer break, Piastri's form has drifted in a way even he can't fully explain. Verstappen has dragged in 179 points from 8 races, finishing on every podium and taking 4 wins. Norris has kept himself in contention with 115 points. Piastri, meanwhile, has scored only 82, with his win at the Dutch Grand Prix now feeling like a distant memory. 7 races without a podium have chipped away at his confidence, and he admits that even 2 flawless weekends in Qatar and Abu Dhabi will not be enough unless his rivals make mistakes. Yet, even with this vulnerability, he refuses to let his doubts change his principles. He will fight until the mathematical door closes, no earlier. This puts McLaren in a difficult position, because they have spent the entire season promoting their philosophy of equal racing. They have repeatedly stated publicly that they will not impose team orders while both drivers are in the title fight. It's a stance many fans admire, but now it threatens to put the team in a tight and potentially destructive situation. Norris has the momentum and the clearer path to the championship. Piastri has the mathematical right to stay in the fight, but the recent form that invites questions. When the team quietly hinted at the idea of him supporting Norris, they likely hoped he would understand the logic. Instead, they were met with a firm rejection, and with that came the beginning of a much larger internal debate. Mark Webber's recent comments have added fuel to that debate. As Piastri's manager, Webber has watched the season swing from promising highs to increasingly worrying drops in form, and he is clearly frustrated. Reports now suggest he plans to sit down with McLaren over the winter not to talk about contracts, but about the structure of the team, the direction of development, and whether Piastri's championship challenge has been handled properly. He believes too many problems have built up on Piastri's side of the garage, not all of them bad luck, and he wants answers before heading into 2026. What worries Webber most is not the points, but the psychological shift. Early in the season, Piastri regularly outqualified Norris. His confidence was stable. His speed seemed natural. Since Zandvoort, that edge has faded. Lap time that used to come easily now requires extra effort. Margins that once fell his way now fall against him. Webber has reportedly told journalists that Piastri has lost some trust, not just in the car, but in the environment around him. And once a driver questions the atmosphere inside a team, the fight becomes significantly more difficult. This context casts Piastri's refusal of team orders in a new light. It wasn't only a championship call. It was a statement about how he sees his position within McLaren. Small moments earlier in the year have suddenly grown teeth. Moments like Norris barging past him in Singapore, or the pit stop chaos in Monaco where he was instructed to give a position back. At the time, these incidents didn't tear the team apart. But now, with the world title on the line, they come back as reminders that the internal balance might not have always felt completely equal. And in a championship fight built on trust, those memories matter. External voices have only intensified the pressure. Max Verstappen's line that Piastri should tell McLaren to F off if they ask him to help Norris was classic Verstappen. Unfiltered, blunt, and rooted in a racer's mindset. His point wasn't about helping Piastri personally. It was about defending the principle of pure competition. Verstappen sees Piastri as a proper racer, not a backup plan, and his support only strengthens Oscar's confidence to hold firm. Mika Hakkinen tried to cool things down, insisting McLaren would never choose one driver over another based on nationality or experience. He believes the team is too competitive, too professional, and too aware of the stakes to let politics interfere. But reassurance does not remove tension. It simply highlights how delicate the situation has become. Even if McLaren are acting fairly, perception shapes reality, and Piastri clearly feels that balance hasn't always been perfect. As Qatar approaches, the atmosphere inside the team is one of polite calm covering a growing pressure cooker. Piastri knows he must deliver in a way he hasn't for months. Norris knows he cannot afford to let this opportunity slip. Webber knows this weekend could define the tone of the winter. And McLaren know one wrong decision could turn a championship bid into a political crisis. These next 2 weekends will decide far more than the 2025 world champion. They will determine what trust must be repaired, how the team evolves, and whether McLaren's equal driver philosophy survives the brutality of a real title battle. If Norris wins the championship, McLaren will say the system worked. If Piastri pulls off a miracle, they will celebrate their refusal to impose hierarchy. But if both lose because neither supported the other, then every interview, every team message, every quiet conversation leading into Qatar will be scrutinized harder than anything else this season. This is why the tension feels heavier than ever. The consequences aren't only sporting, they're structural. Qatar will reveal whether McLaren's idealistic model can survive under real pressure. Piastri will fight for his own destiny. Norris will fight for the title. Webber will fight for his driver's future. And McLaren will try to hold everything together before it breaks. Every lap ahead isn't just about points. It's about trust, ambition, and the fragile balance upon which McLaren's future now rests.